Have you noticed all the videos on YouTube encouraging older people to start their own YouTube channel? Have you given it a thought? Well, if you have, I think that you should look at both sides of the picture. Yes, it is the time, like they say, and it is something you should do now, like they're saying. But consider maybe the con side of the argument. And although I've had my channel for 4 years, I want to share with you some of the reasons why maybe you shouldn't start your own channel. Hi, I'm Sandy from Sandy Over 70. Welcome to my channel. I hope that you'll subscribe if you haven't already, and if you enjoy this video, that you'll click the like button. When I started my channel 4 years ago, there were very few content creators over 70. And the ones that were there that I found were beauty creators. They were doing beauty makeovers and showing women how to put on makeup. I really didn't see anybody over 70 talking about travel. I mean, they might have been on there, but I didn't see it. Now I see so many women that are doing beauty channels. Fortunately, that's not my main focus. I mean, I do makeup once in a while. I like to do fashion, but mostly I like to talk about travel, cruising, and my life in a retirement community. However, if you're thinking about doing a beauty channel, I would suggest you really look at the other people out there who are doing that now, so you have some idea of the competition. I'd like to tell you some of the reasons why you might not want to start a channel. They're in no particular order, but they're just things that have come to my mind that I'd like to share with you. Over the years, YouTube has become more and more complicated. They keep adding things, questions that you have to answer before you post, and you really have to keep up. You have to know what they want from you. To begin with, you really need to have some computer skills, some really good tech skills. Mine aren't great, but I had enough to get started, and I had done a blog beforehand for a couple of years, so I had gotten some training in blogging, which really helped me in blogging. However, you really need to prepare before you do a YouTube channel, and that requires a lot of time because you have to review instruction videos in advance. So know that it takes time and preparation, and if you don't have a lot of time and preparation, you might want to reconsider. Most YouTubers go into creating content to make money. Fortunately for me, that has never been my goal. I do it for a creative outlet. I love doing it, and I kind of ignore some of the rules that might get me more viewers because I want to do what I want to do. And as I said, I'm not doing it for the money, even though at this point I'm making a little money, and that's fine, but I'm still staying true to myself. If you want to go into it for money, and you're seeing some videos, which I'm watching, about how they got monetized in 2 weeks, in 12 weeks, in no time at all, and in fact, the last one I watched, she was monetized in 5 weeks and soon thereafter got a check for over $4,000. I would say to you, this is very, very rare. She struck on a particular topic in one of her videos that took off. She got a lot of subscribers from that, and it just really went crazy. But I would suggest you not believe all these people that tell you it's fast and quick. They're very few and far between. And yes, it sounds quite easy, but believe me, it isn't. I worked very hard at my channel. I posted twice a week. I'm still mostly posting twice a week. But it still took me 1 year and 7 months to get monetized. And even then, I was only making about $25 to $50 a month for a very long time. So think very carefully about going into this for the money. Most YouTube creators never get monetized, and those that do really don't make much money. There's a few at the top of the triangle that are making a lot of money, but to think that that's going to be you is probably wishful thinking. Many of the videos will tell you you can get started with practically nothing. All you need is your cell phone. And yes, I suppose this is true. I know a lot of creators do use their cell phone. But there's some problems with that. Some people say they overheat after you use them for quite a while, but my problem with it is that if I'm out recording on one of my trips and I'm sightseeing, I'm going to be doing a lot of video, and it will use up power quite rapidly, which means that I will have to carry a heavy power pack with me. And if I'm going to do that, I'd rather take my camera. I have a vlogging camera, and I use it exclusively for recording when I'm on the road, so to speak. And I find that it's much easier because it has a very large battery. I carry extra batteries, and if I'm doing a lot of filming, I'll just stop and change the battery when it runs out. So I personally find that easier. And I think once you get into being a YouTube creator, you're going to want to get a camera. So just think of that as an additional expense that you might have. Now, the other thing is, there are expenses involved with YouTubing, and they are quite extensive if you want to do it right. Number one, besides the camera or the cell phone, you have to have a good computer. Videos take up a lot of space on your computer's disk, and so you'll probably have to have either external drives or use something in the cloud, because a regular computer will not hold everything that you need to save. So that's an additional expense. Next, you need an editing program. You cannot make a video without an editing program, and you need to really check around. You need to watch a lot of people and get their opinions on which editing program to use. There are certainly free programs. I've looked at a lot of them because the one I have been using since the beginning has some flaws, and I'd like to get out of it actually, but I've yet to find anything better. I was one of the first customers to buy this program, and I'll tell you the name of it. It's Wondershare Filmora. And so I paid a one-time fee. It wasn't very much, like somewhere around $100, and so I have it for life. And I really, really like it, but there are problems with it, especially with the audio. So I have been looking at many other programs. I've looked at a number of free ones. I've looked at ones that you pay $25 or more a month for. You need to have some kind of editing program, and it takes time to decide which one you want. And then there's the learning curve. Oh my. You know, at our age, over 70, this does not come naturally to us. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of work to figure out how to do this. I'm still constantly learning new things on Filmora that I didn't even know were there or were available. And in fact, most of the things on my program I will never use. There's probably 5 things that I need, but they make them very complicated so that, I guess, the younger people who are used to doing these things with their hands tied behind their back can be challenged by it. What I need is something really simple that just does the things I need to do, not all the extensive things that are actually available on here. But they really don't make a program like that. Years ago, On Microsoft Windows, there was a wonderful free program that I loved. It was so simple and so easy to use. And I understand that there's iMovie if you have an Apple computer, and that may be good for you, but I don't have an Apple computer, so I don't know. But look into that, because that's obviously free too. So there's that problem. What else do you need? You need some kind of tripod. And really, you need a tall one that you can adjust if you're sitting in front of your camera, your phone, or whatever. And you also, I would recommend a shorter one that has a handle on it that you can use to carry around or set on a table to record anywhere. Those are additional expenses. I have purchased a music program called Epidemic Sound because it's very difficult to find copyright-free music to use on your videos. Sometimes you have to pay for it, and sometimes you may think it's copyright-free, but it isn't, and it can get very cumbersome. So this is another monthly fee, but it really is a wonderful program. You can use any and all music on it, and I think you'll probably find at some point you will need music, and it also has sound effects. Canva. CANVA is a wonderful program to make your thumbnails. And your thumbnails, as you will find out, are very important in getting people to watch your videos. There is a free version of Canva, and you can start out with that. But it's very limited, and I have a pay version which gives me access to many more features. That is another monthly fee, but I really couldn't do without it. Another program, which maybe you don't need right away, but you may want later on, is a program to help you find topics, to evaluate your thumbnails, to give you suggestions on your content. And there are two programs I know of. One is called TubeBuddy, I think, TubeBuddy, and the other one is vidIQ. I started with the free version of vidIQ, but it was so limited that I soon got the pay version, which is another monthly or yearly fee. But I use it quite a bit in helping me with my titles and also the things that I put on my thumbnails, because it uses AI, and some of the suggestions are quite helpful. So you may want to spend money on that. So these are the things that you're probably going to want to buy as you go along, and all this adds up. And you tend to buy these things before you've made any money, at least I did. So that's something to think about. If you know you're tight on money, this may not be the hobby for you. But then again, all hobbies tend to cost money. So look at both sides and evaluate it. Another thing you may need to consider is that this is very time consuming. You have that learning curve that takes quite a while. And then you have to decide what you're going to talk about. Some people write a script. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just talk, like what I'm doing now. I have absolutely no script. But other times, if I'm talking about a place I've visited, I will often have notes. I seldom have a complete script, but it has been known to happen. All of that is up front before you even record. Editing takes a great deal of time. And all that put together to make a video, you can easily spend 25 to 30 hours a week on this. And you need to know this because you have to decide if you have the time for this. Another thing, this is a very lonely job. You are not interfacing with human beings. Yes, you can talk to people in the comments, but basically, you're doing this alone. You're editing alone. You're recording alone. You're alone. And if you're a real people person, that could be a problem for you. It doesn't bother me, but you need to consider, do you want to do something that you do alone? Also, there's a loss of privacy. You may be putting out personal things into the World Wide Web. Anyone can see them. So I'm very careful about what I say. I don't say anything that could arouse people or anger them, but that doesn't mean that people won't get angry anyway. But there is an issue with privacy. You're putting yourself out there. And that's not something a lot of people want to do. So think about that. Are you ready for critical or mean comments? I'm very lucky. I honestly get very few. I know some content creators have actually read some of the horrible things people have written. And I can't say that I've gotten really very many, but they do come. And I always check quickly when a comment is written. I get notified on my phone to make sure it's not something ugly that I wouldn't want all of you to see, because I can delete it immediately. But sometimes it does hurt. If someone is criticizing the way I look, the way I did my makeup, anything like that, or some styles that I've shown, some clothing that I've worn, you know, it still does hurt a little bit. It really does. So you have to be prepared for that, and be prepared for the possibility of something really mean being said. So I've given you the other side of the coin here. I've been pretty negative, but I think it's important that you hear these things. And oftentimes when someone is telling you, do it, now's the time, they're only telling you the positive things. And that's not really fair. So I hope that this has been helpful. And if it has, that you will click the like button. And of course, I hope that you will consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.